Rain was falling so hard against the Varric mansion that afternoon that the windows looked less like glass and more like dark water. Olivia Harper had been inside the estate for only 13 days, but she had already learned 3 rules. Do not ask why. There are men with black earpieces standing at every entrance. Do not touch the locked cabinets in the study. And never, under any circumstance, enter the east wing. The housekeeper who trained her said the last rule in a whisper, as if the walls could hear. No one goes there. Mrs. Bell had warned. Not staff, not guards, not guests, not even family. Olivia had nodded, because she needed the job too badly to question anything. She was 31, ordinary in every way the world liked to overlook. Soft around the waist, full in the cheeks, brown hair usually pulled into a plain knot, warm eyes, but not the kind men turned around for. She had spent most of her life being described as sweet, reliable, useful, never beautiful, never unforgettable. The Varric mansion was the kind of place where women were expected to be breathtaking. Olivia was not. That was why she assumed no one would notice her. She was wrong. The power went out at 3:17 p.m. Every light in the mansion died at once. The chandelier above the marble staircase flickered, then vanished into darkness. Somewhere deep inside the house, the security system gave one low electronic groan. Then came a sound Olivia had never heard before. A heavy lock releasing. Click. It came from the east wing. She should have walked away. Instead, carrying a basket of folded towels against her hip, Olivia turned toward the forbidden hallway. The door at the end stood open, just an inch. Cold air slipped through the gap, carrying the faint scent of dust, cedarwood, and something painfully sweet. Vanilla. Children's soap. Olivia's heart began to beat faster. "Hello," she whispered. No answer. She pushed the door open. The room beyond was not a bedroom, not a storage room, not a hidden office filled with guns and money like she had imagined. It was a nursery, untouched, frozen. A white crib stood near the window beneath a faded canopy of silk stars. A tiny yellow dress hung from the wardrobe door. Stuffed animals sat in a perfect row on a rocking chair. Birthday decorations drooped from the ceiling, still spelling out Happy 5th birthday in pale gold letters. On the walls were hundreds of photographs. A little girl laughing in a garden. A little girl on a yacht. A little girl sitting on the shoulders of a younger Dante Varric, his face softer than Olivia had ever seen it. The most feared mafia boss in New York had once smiled like a father. Olivia stepped closer, unable to breathe. On a small table sat a cake topper shaped like a ballerina. Beside it was a music box. She touched it before she could stop herself. The box opened. A broken lullaby began to play. Behind her, a voice said quietly, "You should not be in here." Olivia froze. Dante Varric stood in the doorway. He was dressed in a black suit, rain darkening the shoulders of his coat. He had the face of a man people feared before he spoke. Sharp jaw, cold eyes, calm posture. The kind of stillness that made violence feel close. Olivia expected anger. She expected shouting. She expected to be fired, dragged out, perhaps worse. But Dante did not look angry. His eyes were fixed on the music box in her hands. And then his expression broke. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough for Olivia to see something terrible move beneath the surface. Grief. 10 years of it. Raw and unburied. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "The door opened during the outage. I didn't know." "Put it down." His voice was calm, but something in it trembled at the edges. Olivia carefully set the music box back on the table. Dante walked into the room like every step hurt him. He stopped beside the crib and placed one hand on the wooden rail. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Olivia saw the name engraved on a silver frame beside the crib. Isabella Varric. Dante noticed her looking. "My daughter," he said. The words did not sound like information. They sounded like a wound. Olivia swallowed. What happened to her? Every instinct told her she had gone too far. Dante turned his head slowly. Men like him did not answer questions. Men like him ended conversations with a look. But the nursery had changed something. "She died," he said. 10 years ago. Olivia's chest tightened. "I'm sorry. Everyone says that. I mean it." His gaze moved over her face, cold and searching, as if sincerity was something he no longer trusted. Olivia lowered her eyes. She knew she was plain. She knew she looked out of place in a room filled with silk, wealth, and tragedy. But grief was one language she understood. She had cleaned hospital rooms after families left. She had folded clothes for old women whose children never visited. She had held her own mother's hand through her final winter, so she did the only thing that felt human. She picked up a fallen paper star from the floor and placed it gently back on the windowsill. Dante watched her. "You're not afraid of me?" he asked. "I am," Olivia said softly. "But not because you loved your daughter." Something flashed in his eyes. Outside, thunder rolled over the mansion. From that moment on, everything changed. Dante did not fire her. He did not punish her. Instead, the next morning, Mrs. Bell found a new instruction written in Dante's hand. "Olivia Harper is permitted in the East Wing. No one else." The staff looked at Olivia differently after that. The guards stopped talking when she entered a room. The maids whispered behind pantry doors. Even Mrs. Bell, who had worked for the Varric family for 20 years, stared as if Olivia had walked out of a locked grave. Olivia tried to ignore it. She cleaned the nursery once a week. At first, Dante never came inside while she was there. He would stand in the hallway, silent, watching through the open door like a man afraid to cross into his own memories. Olivia dusted the shelves, washed the windows, replaced the dead flowers with fresh white roses from the garden. She did not move anything important. She learned Isabella had loved yellow dresses, wooden animals, and stories about the moon. She learned Dante had once taken hundreds of photos of her, not as a crime lord documenting possession, but as a father trying to hold time still. One afternoon, Olivia found a photo tucked behind the crib. Isabella stood beside a woman with dark hair and elegant eyes. The woman was beautiful in a fragile, expensive way. Dante appeared behind Olivia before she could put it back. "My wife," he said. Olivia stiffened. "I wasn't searching." "I know." The answer surprised her. He took the photograph but did not look at it for long. Lucia died the same night Isabella did. Olivia's breath caught. Dante's jaw tightened. Car explosion. They said it was a rival family. They said it was war. "You don't believe that?" His eyes met hers. "No." That was the first secret. The second came 3 nights later. Olivia woke to black SUVs outside the staff cottage. Rain silvered the windows. Headlights cut through the dark. Men moved across the lawn with controlled urgency. Then someone knocked on her door. Not Mrs. Bell. Not a guard. Dante. Olivia opened it in an old sweater, her hair loose around her round face, suddenly aware of every imperfect part of herself. Her softness. Her plainness. The way she did not belong in the same frame as him. His eyes did not move over her body like judgment. They moved over her like assessment. Protection. "You need to come with me," he said. "Why?" "Because someone broke into the nursery tonight." Her stomach dropped. Olivia followed him back to the mansion through the rain. The nursery had been disturbed, not destroyed. That would have been easier. Someone had moved one thing. The music box. Inside it was a folded note. Dante opened it. Olivia watched his face turn colder than she had ever seen. "What does it say?" she asked. He did not answer. So she looked. 3 words were written in black ink. She knew nothing. Olivia's blood went cold. Dante turned toward the guards gathered in the hallway. "Lock down the estate," he said. One man stepped forward. "Boss, if this is Bellini." Dante's eyes cut to him. The man stopped speaking. Olivia heard the name anyway. Bellini. That night, Dante moved her from the staff cottage into the main house. "For safety," he said. But the room he gave her was not a servant's room. It was a guest suite 2 doors from his own. Olivia stood in the doorway, stunned by the velvet curtains, the marble fireplace, the bed large enough to make her feel small. "I can't stay here." "You can. I work here. You are being targeted here, because of a room I accidentally entered." Dante stepped closer. The air changed when he was near. It became heavier, sharper, impossible to ignore. "Because someone believes you saw something." "I didn't." "I know." "Then why are they afraid of me?" His chaza held hers. "Because sometimes the innocent notice what the guilty miss." He left before she could ask what that meant. Forced proximity changed everything slowly, then all at once. Olivia saw Dante at midnight in the library, staring at old documents with a glass untouched beside him. She saw him in the garden before dawn, speaking quietly to men who looked ready to die for him. She saw the coldness return whenever others entered the room, but with her, something shifted. Not softness. Never softness. Attention. He noticed when she skipped dinner. A tray appeared outside her door. He noticed when she wore thin shoes in the rain. A new pair of boots arrived without a note. He noticed when one of his cousins, Enzo, smiled too long at her during a dinner meeting. That was the first time Olivia saw jealousy. Enzo had leaned against the kitchen counter, handsome and careless, his eyes moving over Olivia with amusement. "So you're the woman who opened the sacred door." Olivia kept drying a plate. "I'm the housekeeper." "No," Enzo said. "Housekeepers don't get moved upstairs." Before Olivia could answer, the room went silent. Dante stood at the entrance. He did not raise his voice. He did not threaten. He simply looked at Enzo and said, "Leave." Enzo laughed once. "Relax. I was being friendly." "No," Dante said. "You were testing whether I would tolerate disrespect." The silence sharpened. Enzo's smile faded. He left. Olivia's hands trembled around the towel. Dante came closer, but stopped before touching her. "Did he make you uncomfortable?" "I can handle uncomfortable." "That was not my question." She looked up at him. His eyes were dark, controlled, furious in a way that had nothing to do with pride. "Yes," she admitted. Dante's jaw flexed. "He won't speak to you again. You can't control every person who looks at me. I can control what happens after." Her breath caught. It should have frightened her. It did. But beneath the fear was something worse. A dangerous warmth. A feeling of being seen so intensely, it almost hurt. The next reveal came from the nursery. Olivia found it behind a loose panel under the windowsill. A tiny brass key. She might have dismissed it as part of a toy set if Dante had not gone completely still when she showed him. "Where did you find that?" "Behind the wall." He took it from her palm, his fingers brushing hers. The contact lasted less than a second. Olivia felt it everywhere. Dante closed his hand around the key. "That belonged to Isabella. What does it open?" He looked at the birthday decorations hanging above them. "I don't know." But Olivia knew he was lying. That night, the mansion was attacked. It began with the dogs barking. Then glass shattered somewhere downstairs. Alarms screamed through the halls. Olivia woke to Dante entering her room without knocking. A gun in one hand, his face carved from ice. "Get up." She barely had time to grab her coat before he pulled her into the hallway. Men shouted below. Red emergency lights flashed along the walls. Smoke crawled up the staircase. Olivia stumbled. Dante caught her around the waist, steadying her with one strong hand. For one impossible second, she was pressed against his soft body to hard armor, fear to control. Then he moved her behind him. "Stay close." A masked man appeared at the end of the corridor. Dante fired once. Olivia gasped, but Dante did not look away. He shielded her with his body as they moved through the mansion, past broken glass, past smoke, past men fighting in shadows. At the east wing, he opened a hidden door behind a portrait. Olivia stared. "Un passage?" The mansion was built by men who expected betrayal. They descended into a narrow stone tunnel beneath the house. Only when the sound of violence faded behind them did Olivia realize Dante was bleeding. His left side was dark. "You're hurt." "It's nothing." "That's not nothing." He ignored her until they reached an underground garage where a black SUV waited. Olivia grabbed his arm. "Dante." It was the first time she said his name. He stopped. Slowly, he looked down at her hand on his sleeve, then at her face. "You're bleeding," she said, "and you're shaking." "I'm scared." "I know. You always say that like it fixes anything." Something almost like regret crossed his face. "No," he said, "but it tells you I'm paying attention." At the safe house outside the city, Olivia cleaned his wound with shaking hands. The place overlooked a foggy harbor, all dark glass and steel, hidden between cliffs and pine trees. Rain battered the windows. The world outside looked swallowed. Dante sat shirtless on the edge of a bed, while Olivia pressed gauze to his side. She tried not to notice the scars across his body. Old wounds. New ones. A map of violence. "You should have a doctor." "I have one." "Then why am I doing this?" "Because I trust you in the room." Her hand still. He looked at her then, and the silence became intimate in a way neither of them was ready for. Olivia lowered her eyes first. "I'm not special," she whispered. Dante's voice was quiet. "Who told you that?" She laughed sadly. Most people. Not directly. They didn't have to. He watched her for a long moment. You think beauty is the only thing that makes someone dangerous? I'm not dangerous. No, he said. You're worse. She looked up. You make quiet feel safe, Dante said. Men like me don't survive safe things. Before she could answer, his phone rang. Whatever softness had existed vanished. Dante listened. Then he stood. What happened? Olivia asked. His face turned deadly. They took Mrs. Bell. The demand came an hour later. Marco Bellini wanted the brass key. And Olivia. Dante listened to the recording twice. Mrs. Bell's voice shook through the speaker. Don't give him the girl, Mr. Varric. Don't you dare. Then a man laughed. Olivia felt sick. Dante ended the recording and walked to the window. Who is Marco Bellini? My uncle. The one your guard mentioned. Yes. What does he want with me? Dante turned. The same thing everyone wants from innocent people. Leverage. That's not the whole truth. His eyes narrowed. Olivia stepped closer, surprising herself. I opened that room. I found the key. Someone broke into the nursery. Someone attacked your mansion. And now your uncle wants me. Stop protecting me from information when the danger already found me. Dante's expression hardened. I am protecting you from a war that has buried better people than you. No, she said. You're protecting yourself from saying her name. Silence. The room seemed to lose oxygen. Dante moved toward her slowly. Any other man might have shouted. Dante became quieter. You should be careful. I am tired of being careful because powerful men are afraid of grief. His eyes flashed. For a second, Olivia thought he might finally become the monster everyone feared. Instead, he stopped inches from her, close enough that she could see the exhaustion beneath his control. My daughter did not die in the explosion, he said. Olivia's heart stopped. Dante's voice lowered. She survived long enough to be taken from the car. Someone made sure the world believed she was dead. Olivia whispered, You think Isabella was kidnapped? I know she was. The room tilted. For 10 years? For 10 years. Every lead ended in bodies and lies. And the nursery? I kept it untouched because whoever took her left something there. Something I never found. The key. Dante nodded. What does it open? A box Lucia hid before she died. Your wife knew? She was trying to leave me, he said, and the words cost him. Not because she hated me. Because she discovered someone in my bloodline had sold access to our home. Marco. Yes. Olivia looked toward the rain-streaked glass. And now he thinks the key can expose him. Not thinks, Dante said. Knows. The exchange was arranged at an abandoned church on the edge of Brooklyn. Dante refused to bring Olivia. Olivia refused to stay behind. You can glare at me all night, she said, standing in the safe house kitchen with her coat on. I'm going. No. Mrs. Bell was kind to me. This is not bravery. It's stupidity. Maybe. But I'm still going. Dante stared at her with the kind of fury that came from fear. You do not understand what men like Marco do to women they can use. Olivia's voice softened. Then don't let him use me. That did something to him. She saw it. The crack. The pull. The dangerous need to keep her close even when distance would be safer. At the church, rain fell through holes in the roof. Candles burned along the broken altar. Mrs. Bell knelt near the front, bruised but alive, guarded by Bellini men. Marco Bellini stood beside her in a gray coat, elegant and smiling. He looked nothing like a monster. That made him worse. So, this is her, Marco said, looking Olivia over with cruel curiosity. The little housekeeper who brought ghosts back into the family. Dante stepped in front of her. Marco smiled wider. Oh, Dante. How predictable. You always did mistake grief for loyalty. Let her go, Dante said. The key first. Dante held up the brass key. Marco's eyes sharpened. Olivia noticed something then. Behind the altar, carved into the old wood, was a symbol she had seen in the nursery. A small moon, Isabella's favorite. Olivia moved before she thought. While Dante and Marco faced each other, she slipped toward the altar. Marco saw too late. Stop her. Chaos exploded. Dante moved like violence given a body. Olivia reached the altar and found a hidden lock beneath the carved moon. The brass key fit. Inside was a metal box. She opened it with trembling fingers. Photographs. Documents. A birth certificate. and one recent picture that made her knees weaken. A teenage girl with Dante's eyes. Alive. Isabella. Olivia turned, breathless. She's alive. The entire church went silent. Dante looked at her. For the first time, the fear in his face was not hidden at all. Marco pulled a gun. Dante stepped toward Olivia. A shot cracked through the church. Olivia felt the impact before she understood it. Pain bloomed across her shoulder. She fell. Dante caught her before she hit the ground. The sound that left him was not human. It was rage and terror, and 10 years of loss tearing open at once. He held Olivia against him, his hand pressing over the blood, his face inches from hers. "Stay with me." She tried to speak. Couldn't. His voice broke. "Olivia, look at me." She did, and in his eyes, she saw the truth he had denied until that moment. He was not afraid of losing a housekeeper. He was afraid of losing her. Dante's men stormed the church. Marco ran, but not far. By dawn, Marco Bellini was dragged into the Varric casino beneath Manhattan, the private underground room where debts were paid in silence. Dante did not kill him. That would have been too easy. He made him confess. Every name, every account, every family involved, every officer paid, every judge bought, every document forged after Isabella was taken. The confession went public by sunrise. By noon, the city was burning with scandal. By evening, Dante Varric was no longer just a mafia boss. He was a man tearing his own empire apart to find his daughter. Olivia woke in a luxury hospital suite with white roses beside her bed, and Dante sitting in a chair near the window. He looked like he had not slept. His suit was wrinkled, his knuckles bruised, his face hollow with exhaustion. "You're alive," he said. Olivia tried to smile. "You sound surprised." "I am not used to prayers being answered." She looked at him quietly. "Did you find her?" Dante's expression shifted. "Not yet, but now I know where to look." "Where?" "Montreal. Under another name." Olivia closed her eyes, relief and fear mixing inside her. When she opened them again, Dante was beside the bed. He reached for her hand, then stopped. Always stopping. Always controlling himself. Olivia, tired of silence, moved her fingers into his. Dante stared at their joined hands as if she had offered him something more dangerous than power. "You should leave when you recover," he said. Her chest tightened. "Is that what you want?" "No." "Then why say it?" "Because wanting you near me makes me selfish." Olivia's voice was soft. "You were already selfish." A faint shadow of a smile touched his mouth, then disappeared. "I bring death close to everything I love. I opened a forbidden door in a mafia mansion," she said. "I think I knew this wasn't going to be peaceful." His thumb moved once across her hand. Slow, restrained, reverent. "You are not what I expected," he said. "Because I'm not beautiful enough for this story?" His eyes lifted sharply. "No." Olivia regretted the words immediately, but Dante stood, leaned over her bed, and placed one hand beside her pillow. His face hovered close to hers. "You think I look at you and see what other men missed?" he asked. She could not breathe. "I look at you and see the first person in 10 years who entered the worst room in my life and did not run from what was inside it." Her eyes burned. "That is beauty, Olivia." The first kiss did not happen then. It almost did. His gaze dropped to her mouth. Her breath caught. Then the hospital door opened, and a guard entered. "Boss," he said. "We found the girl." Dante went still. Olivia's hand tightened around his. 3 days later, Dante stood outside a quiet school in Montreal. Snow fell softly over the black SUVs lining the street. Olivia stood beside him, her arm in a sling, her heart pounding. Across the road, a teenage girl stepped out of the building. Dark hair, Dante's eyes, a yellow scarf around her neck. Dante did not move. For all his power, all his violence, all his control, he stood frozen like a man afraid that one step might shatter the world. Olivia touched his sleeve. "Go," she whispered. Dante crossed the street. The girl looked up. Confusion passed across her face. Then something deeper. Recognition without memory. Dante stopped a few feet away from her. He did not touch her. He did not claim her. He simply said, with a voice broken beyond repair, "Isabella." The girl stared at him. Then the snow fell harder between them. Olivia watched from across the street as the most feared man she had ever known began to cry without making a sound. Months passed before the mansion felt alive again. The East Wing was no longer forbidden. Not to everyone. Just to the past. Isabella returned slowly, carrying a new name, old nightmares, and a heart uncertain where to belong. Dante did not force love from her. He earned trust in quiet ways, sitting across from her at breakfast, leaving space when she needed it, learning the life stolen from him without demanding the daughter he remembered. Olivia stayed. At first, she told herself it was temporary. Then Dante gave her the nursery key. Not the brass one. A new one. To what? She asked. The room. You don't need my permission to enter your own grief. No, he said, but I want you there when I do. The nursery changed over time. The birthday decorations came down. The toys were cleaned and boxed with care. The photographs remained, but new ones joined them. Isabella at 17, standing awkwardly beside Dante in the garden. Olivia laughing in the kitchen with flour on her cheek. Dante watching both of them from the doorway, his expression softer than anyone in the old world would have believed. One winter night, a storm rolled over the mansion just like the day Olivia had opened the door. The power flickered. The hallway went dark. Olivia stood outside the East Wing, remembering the fear, the dust, the lullaby. Dante appeared beside her. You're thinking about leaving, he said. She looked at him. No, you were. I was thinking about how strange it is, she admitted. That one accident changed everything. Dante stepped closer. You were never an accident. Her heart slowed. Outside, thunder moved across the sky. Inside, the door to the former nursery stood open. Dante reached for her, and this time, he did not stop. His hand curved gently around her waist, careful of her softness, her warmth, the body she had spent years wishing looked different. He looked at her as if nothing about her needed changing, as if ordinary had become sacred. Olivia, he said quietly, I have owned houses, casinos, ships, entire streets of this city. None of them ever felt like home, she whispered. And now? His forehead lowered to hers. Now home is wherever you are standing. The kiss was slow, not gentle exactly. Dante Varric did nothing without intensity, but it was controlled, reverent, full of every word he had refused to say while grief and danger stood between them. Olivia kissed him back with tears on her face. Behind them, the room that had once held only loss glowed in the soft light of new candles. Not a shrine anymore. Not a prison. A beginning. And for the first time in 10 years, the only door Dante Varric never locked remained open.